Hey everyone, it's Jake at Jake's Metal Chat. I hope you're all well, and welcome to the fourth episode of my Metal Vault, where I will be exploring and showing you my favorite albums within heavy metal, thrash metal, death metal, black metal, doom metal, sludge metal, folk metal, you name it, all that excellent stuff. And I have another absolute classic here for you, sticking with the year 1989. This band formed in 1988 in Birmingham, England, and they've been going strong ever since. They were under another name from 1983 to 1987, which I will be talking about in this video, but let's get into it. Here is one of my all-time favorite industrial metal albums by one of my all-time favorite industrial metal bands. This is Godflesh and Streetcleaner. And yes, it was signed by the band when I saw him in 2014 at the Fleece by Justin and GC Green. Of course, this is the re-release from Earache, because not only does it have the original album, but also the original unreleased mixes of certain songs, live shows, you name it. And of course, here we've got the CDs, lyrics and such, and I believe a little picture of the band right there. So I've got Justin and GC Green, and a lot of us know this. There may be some who don't, but Justin Baldrick used to be in Napalm Death. Not only that, but a band called Head of David, if you're into that sort of thing. Now, what do you get with Godflesh? I know what you get with this, and people who know this band will know what you get with this. But for anyone that's not familiar with Godflesh, you just get intense, dark heaviness. I've said that a lot about certain albums, but this is on that list because it is literally a dark, heavy sounding album. And this artwork, the cover that they use, is from a film called Altered States, if I remember correctly. Now to get into my notes here, they were a band before this, Justin and GC Green, along with guitarist Paul Neville, which is on the last 10 songs, the last 5 songs, because it's 10 songs altogether. Of course, this is the re-release, so they added a few extra tracks, but let me just get that one up for the original. Yes, just 10 tracks altogether, but obviously here it says the last track is track number 9, but on the original release it is track number 10. Of course, they added Tiny Tears, Wound, Deadhead, and Section. I think I just said that wrong. But this is the re-release. And when did this one specifically come out? I think this one is, 2019. This one, because it's got a vinyl release as well. Or no, wait, I got this back in but there was a 2019 release. I think I got mine back in 2010, if I remember correctly. Yep, mine would have been 2010, but they do have a 2019 vinyl edition. And the album came out in November, the 13th of November of 1989. And looking at this, of course, Paul Neville was guitars on tracks 6 to 10. So the tracks are, reading them from here, Like Rats, Christbait Rising, Pulp, Dream, Long, Dead, Head Dirt, Devastation, Mighty Trust Crusher, Life is Easy, Streetcleaner, the title track, and Locust Furnace. Now, from start to finish, this is just one hell of an album. Again, another one that people need in their collection. And yes, it is one that you need. And now going back to this, back in 1983, they were a band called Thought of Because. Now, anyone who delves well into the gothic post-punk scene, that is a song by the band Killing Joke called The Thought of Because, but took the bit off, the off, and just Thought of Because. And of course, with that band, they did release a demo back in 1986, and then a compilation in 1999 with the song Life is Easy. The name of the compilation is Life is Easy, of course, which is on this specific album. And of course, back in 1988, when they disbanded For Because and became Godflesh, they released this EP, which came out, was the first release they did in 1988, just titled Godflesh, and everyone will know this cover. This was given by a friend of mine. Of course, my favorite song on this would be Avalanche Master Song. Everything's great. Everything is just from start to finish an incredible EP. And of course, a single followed after that in '89, and then followed by this. And I've seen these guys live. I saw them 2014 here in Bristol at a venue called The Fleece. And then I saw them at Bloodstock 2015, so a year later, on the Sophie stage on the last day. And then I saw them last year at Damnation Fest playing all of this in its entirety, and it was just incredible. Just seeing that live, just, you know, that wall of sounds just punch you in the face. It does on this album, but hearing this entire album live, just, again, that wall of sound is just so heavy. It's just like, it hits you right in the face. And with this album as well, you can agree with me on this. You don't have to agree. We all got our own opinions here. It's very doomy. I know it's not a doom album, but it's got that doom metal feel to it, that doom metal aspect. So if you're into your doom metal, you like atmospheric metal, like atmospheric doom, like your Funeral Doom, not, you know, stuff like that, very atmospheric doom, but it's quite, you know, very much more atmospheric, because obviously these guys are an industrial metal band, influencing quite a lot of bands over the years, one being Fear Factory. You can hear that on their very first album, a lot of Godflesh influence, definitely a lot of this, and their second album, Pure. Just seeing these guys live, I know a lot of people have seen these guys live. I've seen footage of them here on YouTube playing Germany in 1990, and there's people just moshing, stage diving, and just having a great time. Of course, they don't have to worry about a drum kit because the drums are programmed, which are done by Justin himself. And going back to the lineup, so Justin Baldrick on vocals, guitars, drum programming, GC Green on bass, and then Paul Neville guitars on tracks 6 to 10. Of course, they went on the it was another Grind Crusher tour done by Eric, but this time it had these guys, Nocturnus and Napalm Death. And that would have been a show to go to. Whoever went to that show, do comment down below. That was in 1991, if I remember at the top of my head. Of course, these guys would be the second band on, Nocturnus being the first band on, then these guys, and then Napalm Death. And I've seen footage from each of their sets of that tour at the same venue. I can't remember what that was. It might have been in California, because I remember them doing an interview on the grindcore documentary that was happening around that time, which had these guys on, Paradise Lost, music videos from Entombed and Cerebral Fix, Prophecy of Doom, bands like that. And when I first saw these guys, when I first heard the name, I thought, is it going to be death metal? Is it going to be doom metal? Is it going to be a bit of both? Is it going to be very atmospheric? Didn't know what to expect. When I saw him do that interview on that grindcore documentary, heard the music, I thought, wow, this is very, very heavy. Again, going back to it being very doom. Looked at them up and I was like, industrial metal. When I think industrial music in general, I think bands like, the biggest one that I can think of is 9 Inch Nails. But these guys putting in metal with the industrial, it just works so well with all the samples, all the atmospheric sounds that they add to it. Of course, there's so many bands that do that now. One of my favorites being Spectral Voice. You can definitely hear that on their only album so far. And hoping they bring out a new one. So I can definitely hear. I'm not sure with those guys that they took any influence from Godflesh, but with all those samples that you hear in between certain tracks, I can definitely see where they would get some influence from, and I would say this album, maybe just Godflesh in general. But if I was to talk to a band and they had that influence, I say, is Godflesh one of them? It's like, yeah. Is it Streetcleaner? It's like, yes. And they might say also Pure. But definitely for fans of really heavy, doomy sounding metal. Again, I know they're not doom, it's industrial metal, but very atmospheric as well. If you love that sort of stuff, you're gonna love Godflesh. And if you ever get a chance to see them live and even get a chance to talk to the guys, they're great. I got to talk to Justin and GC Green at the Fleece in 2014, which I thought Godflesh in Bristol, I'm not passing that up. They were excellent there. Of course, I've heard that people have gone deaf after listening to that music because they turn it right up. And even Justin mentioned in that documentary that he only knew one person at one show that they did who went completely deaf. Hence why I always take earplugs to gigs, because I like to be able to hear afterwards and not have my ears ringing. But I can still feel that heaviness, still hear that heaviness. Even though I'm wearing earplugs, I can still hear that heaviness. And guys, it's just one of those albums that you definitely need, because I know there's going to be, sorry, got a bit of a bunged up nose. There's gonna be people out there who are like, I want some of that very dark sounding metal. I want something that's you're just going to get lost in it. And with this band, you definitely get lost in their music. And obviously, Godflesh, this album, Streetcleaner by Godflesh, is a prime example of just how much you can get totally lost in it. Again, with the tracks from start to finish, and just naming some of my favorite tracks on here, like obviously the first track, Like Rats. First song I ever heard was Christbait Rising. Of course, the title track itself, Streetcleaner, and Life is Easy. And of course, I heard the version that they did when those three were Fourth Because, which obviously had Justin Baldrick doing the drums on that release. Because I know he's also done a lot of other projects. He's got Jasu, which he's still currently doing. He's been doing that since 2003, so he's been doing that for 20 years. Of course, he was in Napalm Death. He was on the first side of Scum. And, Yeah, he was on the first side of Scum, and the second side was Bill and Lee. We all know that. You know, absolutely just an excellent musician. And I mentioned before, if you're into that, I'm not sure how to describe Head of David, if anyone's familiar with Head of David, but he's only in that band from 87 to 89. Of course, he's done live stuff with Sun. Some people say Sunno, whichever you prefer, because it's got the the symbol for the sun and the rays, but it's Sun. Of course, did live guitars and vocals for Napalm Death in 1990, and he was in Scorn, which was a band that was formed by Mick Harris after he left Napalm Death with Nick Bullen, who was one of the original members of Napalm Death, of course. All that stuff that he's done a lot of different things over the years, be it grindcore, or bit of death metal, thrash, because he did guest vocals on one of Cavalier Conspiracy's albums, and I am wearing my Cavalier t-shirt, which I saw him back in Manchester not too long ago. And he's done music stuff for bands such as Agoraphobic, Nosebleed, Earth, Fall of Hell, Galhammer, of course, his own stuff in Godflesh and Jasu. Even stuff for Pantera for like the Walk single, Panic Cavern, obviously a Black Sabbath cover. He's done all sorts of stuff. Just shows you how talented he actually is, and another talented musician and songwriter, of course, Devin Townsend. Anyone that can do awesome stuff like that is in my books. And Justin, with his drum programming and his guitar work, his vocals, along with Jason with GC Green's bass, and then you get Paul later on into the whole album. It's just adding more and more levels. So you just got Justin and GC at the moment from tracks 1 to 5, and then you get Paul from tracks 6 to 10, and you're just going deeper and deeper into this album, and it's just I don't really know how to explain it or describe it, but I think the more you listen to this album, the more you listen to the songs, the more you get immersed in it. So this is definitely one for all of you metal fans out there who love really, really heavy, atmospheric metal. And of course, this is a prime example of all that. Get another drink. Just from start to finish, excellent album. And seeing them live is just a whole different experience. With any band, they always sound better live than their records. And they transcribed this album live so damn well when I saw them at Damnation last year. So damn well. And I'm glad I found this album and all the other albums that I'll be showing you down the line in this series, because without metal, then I don't know what I'd be doing, to be honest with you. And I'm always finding new bands, be it like death metal or thrash or doom or black or folk, sludge, industrial metals, anything like that. And I'm glad this is in my collection. And it should be in yours as well. So once again, this is Godflesh and Streetcleaner. And be sure to check out all their other releases. I know Music of Destruction, MOD, has done an entire discussion on these albums. So have a look at that. He rates them all from like the best to worst. I'm trying to think how he did it, but he does it like that. Discusses all the albums until it gets to like a lot of bands, a lot of YouTubers done this, like the favorite albums from worst to best, like top 10 ones, and yeah. So if I can find out where his video is, I'll put it in the link description below. You may have listened to a lot of his albums anyway. But if you've not heard this one, get it. Godflesh, Streetcleaner. Absolutely phenomenal, excellent, absolute banger. And thank you very much for tuning in to episode 4 of my Metal Vault. I have another episode coming Saturday, which I will record the day before because I'm busy that day and I probably won't have a chance to record it as soon as I get home. I'm going to be recording my next favorite death metal albums today because I'm not going to have time to do it tomorrow because I'm out tomorrow to see Decapitated at the Fleece here in Bristol. And I also got a chat tonight. My guest is actually coming here to do it face to face than me doing it like on Zoom. And yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of videos where I just record them days before I even record them, like on the day. Instead of doing them on the day, I'll just do them the day before because I know I'm going to be busy for quite a few days or longer than that. But once again, thank you for tuning in. I'm glad people are enjoying this series, been commenting on my videos. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like this video, share it around, comment if you so wish, and also subscribe for more content like this so you can keep up to date with what I'm doing. And to update you on the Metal Tavern podcast, we do have another episode. It was meant to be this Sunday, but he's going to be busy this Sunday. So it's going to be next Sunday we're recording it. And we got more episodes along the way, and they should all be up on the channel once we've recorded them. So just keep me up to date. So if you want to check that out as well, description below. Godflesh album ranking video when I can just I'll find a bunch and I'll stick them down below so you can have a look. And that's it. Thank you for tuning in. I've been Jake's Metal Chat. Keep that banner metal held high, and I'll see you all in the next one.